Right, let's see how many people I can lose tonight. Let's see if we can go for 150, 200 people signing off, unsubscribing, because the horrifying things I see on screen with the stream in the Australia Day weekend. Come on. It's waiting. I bet you YouTube's already rejected me out of hand. This content is offensive to small children. We have reports of children crying. Ah, can't believe it. There's nobody here. Unbelievable. Come on, Friday afternoon. What are you people doing with your lives? Taking time off? Aha! Crazy J, perfect time. Perfect person to turn up. The crazy. Yes, Paulina. Hello. Ni hao. This should drive you guys insane for a little bit. It's my new style. I thought I was watching all sorts of videos the last couple of days. I thought I need to get more subscribers, and I found that if you can speak Chinese or something like that and have pigtails and you can dance, then you get a lot of subscribers. So here we go. Yes, and of course the Chinese New Year. Can't forget that. Well, anyway, enough of that. People are going to drop like flies. I guess I better pull my hair out. Go back to the Foo Fighters Paul Grohl, or whatever his name is, style. There we go. You're not Australian if you can't make fun of yourself like that. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to take my headset off so I can reset my hair. Pedro's got it right. Such a dag. Dave Grohl, that's the name. Hey, Paulie Lewis. Mido Dido. Alright. Clearly I have to get my hair cut. Hey, Mr. Mech85. Mr. Wayne Taylor, you're, yes. There we go. Thank you very much. Now I've got to get the tips for it. I didn't get a chance to pick up some tips, but I will. Ooh, I just noticed there's some Chinese... No, is that Chinese writing? Nope, that just says ESD safe. I'm almost up to the first stage of my Chinese learning, and I still cannot really say much other than, let's see, wo chu fan, meaning I like to eat, well, I eat rice. That's about it. But I did have one realization at the end of the movie, Rush Hour, the first one, and, of course, Jackie Chan with Chris Tucker, is it? Whatever. Yeah, at the end, Chris Tucker is handed a drink by the flight attendant, and he says, shishini. And I now realize that actually means thank you to the flight attendant. So amazing how that sort of sticks in your head, and you recall it years later. Paulie Lewis, you haven't cut your hair in over a decade. That is quite a while. That would be getting pretty long now. The longest I've ever gotten is down to the small of my back, and that was getting a little bit crazy. Hey, ITC. Thumbnail for the video was awesome. I haven't seen the thumbnail. Of course I forgot it. Auto-generate. Crazy J. 00165's fixed. Liquid damage around ISL. Charger damage. Ransom wires. Great. Excellent. Alright, we've got... oh, jeez. Just realised someone's got their flippin' phone number on this, so I better fix that up before. And I better do it in a way that's not going to damage anything. Ooh, looks like some money just went into my account. I like it when money goes into my account. This isn't stuff from people or anything, it's just takings from the day. Hey Ed. That's funny, Chichi means P, what is in Brazilian? Or what language do they speak in Portuguese? No? What? Spanish? I don't know. Oh, well, someone better capture that thumbnail. Anyway. Okay, so... what have we got? I believe this is... Yep, this is the dreaded 1425s. They look like a 1502, and when you first see them you go, oh boy, a 1502. And then you read on the bottom, and you see it says 1425, and you cry. because the 1425 is like an abomination that thankfully never lasted. So let's go overhead. This one right now, you plug power into it and you basically get nothing. You get about 40 milliamp, I think. So I've probably got no PM sleep S4L, so no green light, 40 milliamp. We're missing PM sleep S4L, is my guess anyway. Man, I gotta see the thumbnail now that everyone's talking about. Give me a second. Dun, dun, dun. Ha! Yep. Alright, that's a gold. Pure gold. Hey Rafael, no blue sky. Porto in Spanish. Ah, thank you, Sue Collier. It's hard enough learning one language without trying to remember everybody else has other languages too. It's like, how dare other people speak other languages. I'm pretty happy with how I'm going so far. It's been a bit over 3 weeks, so I'm getting there. Just a whole bunch of epiphany moments where you sort of realize what makes sense and a few more things come together for you. Hey Steve K. Oh, by the way, there was a slight mistake in the previous stream where I put the 300 microfarad caps together. I just realized that was my old style of doing things, but I actually improved on it. There's a vastly easier solution that works even better. Better in the sense that I think I got a slightly higher voltage too. Yeah, as soon as I finish unscrewing these screws, I'll show you. And you do not have to do any creative soldering or anything. So, where are they now? Up here. Okay, thanks to the modern technology, we now have... Let's get the microscope out for this. We now have these chaps. Now these are 1210 size, so they will easily fit on the pad. They are 330 microfarad ceramics, 330 microfarad, 2.5 volt, and they're cheap. I mean, compared to other solutions. So all you need to do is you put one of these in place of where that tantalum was, and it does the job. Easy peasy, no messing around, no scratching backboards or anything like that. And it works just splendidly fine. So I'll have to amend my previous video for that. John White, can we have more videos please? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Rodrigo, that's right, yeah, in your head sort of, you suddenly realise, oh my gosh, I know what they're saying. Okay, this is a prior job. Okay, that's disconnected. I already knew this was going to be a prior job, so there's no issues there. Sent up with the intent and prior explanation. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is, because it is a prior job, I'm just going to pull it straight out and inspect the prior work, even though everything should be fine. It never hurts to cast a fresh eye on things. I really, really do not like the whole design concept that they've got for this setup. So I don't know what the engineers were smoking. Some kind of crack. You guys got to remember to take this bizarro little pogo pinned standoff circuit board. Because if you lose that thing, then yeah, you may as well just give up. Yeah, this crazy little contraption. Yeah, 1210, 330 microfarad, 2.5 volt. Does the job just perfectly fine. There's a couple of 1210s on here even. I can see them standing out. Yeah, the dreaded battery that no one can get a replacement for. and the SSD that completely catches you out the first time you ever open these up. Like, it's such a simple thing to get out, but the first time you deal with it, you're like, where's the solid state drive? And yeah, it's so much easier when you know what you're looking at. Hey, Sticky, how's it going? Listening to stream, try and take a nap before a 12-hour night shift. Oh boy. What sort of work do you do, Sicky? If you're allowed to say anything. I mean, for all I know, you might be some sort of nuclear physicist on a top secret project, recreating the Incredible Hulk or something. Man, some of those flexes are a bit crimped up. It's not good. This board does not lend itself to very easy reconnection of a lot of the contacts. The flexes get just a bit too crammed in by the battery. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, they're smoking something, that's for sure. I always forget the fan doesn't really come out on this one. It does, but you got to take the board out on both sides. So we'll just stick a screw back in there, lock that in. It's like if Homer Simpson decided to... Everyone's seen the Homer Simpson car. Well, this is the Homer Simpson MacBook. I need to know if computer repair is a good career. Brian, yeah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, can you make some money out of it? Sure. Is it a career? I think you really want to make sure you got a secondary backup or something on hand. Okay, why don't you want to come out? What is your story? What's going on with you? Ah, there's my tweezers. Yeah, designed by a committee. That's pretty much it. Get that camera connector out without ruining it. Saw someone on eBay was selling a 4725 board, and they completely ripped off the camera connector and all the pads with it. So how did you manage to do that? Because usually what will happen on most of the camera connectors is people will yank on the cable and they will rip the cable out of the connector itself rather than rip the connector off the board. So that person had some serious talent, whoever they were. Come on. Alright, that daughter board flex wasn't properly in, but I think it's just been slapped together. God, every time I look there's another screw to take out. Are we ready? Oh, that's right, there's a flex under here too. Definitely designed by a committee. Hey, Vagon. Son of a gun. And we're free. Do it I want any old time. Anyone remember the Soup Dragons? Very much a one-hit wonder band. Hey Travis. Coburn, extra day off, what's that? No. No days off for good behaviour around here. Damaris, you mean pulling out that camera cable from the connector? Yeah. Yeah, it's not a happy tree friend's place to be. Right, let's start off at the top right. So, okay, looks like this one's taken a good hit on the old liquid damage scale. Might as well get rid of those. I'd say we've probably got a corroded cap, or a corroded resistor perhaps around the I2C lines. There's certainly a lot of work that's going to need to be done on this. Just touching up bits and pieces. At least the display area is all good. It's a nice change in life. We're at 3462. Even the board numbers don't seem very nice. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take the heatsink off. Tony McPants, 90 ravers from Scotland. Oh, is that where they were from? Yeah. I guess they probably earned their keep with that one song. Wonder if they got more money than Rebecca Black did for Friday. Alright, just around the corner from you. Small world. Pedro, I'm not sure if people want to actually see me go live now after the horrifying exposure to Miss Pigtails. Do a Sorrow and pour Zippo on it and set it alight. That could be quite dangerous here because I'm actually in the very far extremes of this house, and to get out of this house from here takes a comparatively long time, particularly if you're on fire. Man, everything's taken a hit here. So we're not even getting green lights, so SMC or... Well, that's going to suck if it's an SMC, because I don't have one for this model. So it's fingers crossed it's not SMC, as this is going to be a... Well, we've got a stand-up citizen here, and a knockoff. Okay, so someone's tombstoning. And someone's been... That looks problematic. The reason being is because it's... Whatever it is, it got really hot and it's peeled itself away from the board. And... Is it spongy in that area? It goes straight into... Yeah, it's spongy there. This is dead. See how it sponges? Something very bad happened here. Alright. That's our problem, most likely. Well, I'm speculating, but we've got some hot air activity up here too. And we've got some cremation going on down here. More hot air. I wonder if something... I don't know whether this is someone's prior attempt hot air touching it. But that sponginess there is a problem. We could have a shorted board. Let's see, what's Jason want? What do you want, Jason? I'm live, you idiot. Okay. So we got 3462. This is gonna suck, I'm afraid to say. Need another board that Paul is handed that probably should have done a direct stop to the trash. Damn it, I can't remember the number. 3462. What? Who's that? People with iPhone 7 problems. Alright, so what do we have to... this bottom section here, or... up here? So the very bottom one tombstoned. So what is that? SMC BMON current sensor, battery monitor current sensing to the charger, so that would kill it from powering up. I mean, putting any charge in it. Oh damn, we've got bugs in here. And the second from the top, CPU, VCC IO. Oh dear God. Yeah, I don't have much hopes of this board now. Why would that even do that? The only thing I would think of is maybe C5369. Nope, that's next to it. Okay, so that from there goes over to here. Yeah. Oh, and that looks like that is kind of shifted off its base. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to take this off and see if that's burned. I'm pretty sure that will have been. Oh, whoops, sorry, you guys can't see. Yeah, let's go the four-way split. This C6991, what are you? Okay, so this is 3V42 area, and it's been butchered. And rather unrelated to this area here. Like I said, that... what if it's shorted to ground? Jason wants more practice CPUs. You must be talking iPhone CPUs, I guess. Hey, Rob C. The hell, my meter just... please do not tell me you just died. Seem okay? Yes, it is. It is current sense. Well, it's not short to ground. Let's see if we've still got continuity. From here. Shockingly, we actually do. Here we go. Could be why we've got a dead SMC at the very least and no power up. But let's see all in. If we that line's connected, strangely enough, considering that it's all puffed up. But this one here, which was part of the whole explosion area, goes straight into the SMC. So I wonder if it took a massive hit. I have a feeling this is going to suck. We haven't even looked at the other side of the board yet. Yep. Oh, that's dead. No, this is a goner. This has taken a massive hit. I mean, look at this. Look at that. That's all sponged up. There's no way you're fixing this. Look at that poor resistor. That resistor is taking like 1,000 volts. Okay, it hasn't really that much, but that's cactus. Absolutely cactus. So something hit the CPU and that's burned there. Oh man, this is like Chernobyl aftermath. It's not good. That's a bad sign. The black coating there, when that ablates off, that means it must have got extraordinarily hot. I'm just trying to look what that resistor is. That's PP3 VSO. Yes. Yeah, lightning discharge probably actually wouldn't be too far from the mark, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it's had liquid damage, but yeah, you see your input resistor there, your 47 ohm, that's burned out. This thing's really taken a beating. There's no way. Oh, wow. Blown a hole straight through that. That's the TPS 511. Oh, what is it? It's a CPU voltage regulator. I'm thinking it is. U7201. Yeah, that gives us our... Okay, not CPU, but... That gives us our 5 volt and 3 volt lines. That is... Ta-ta, goodbye. What happened here? You're just a bit of junk. This is really more a case of how many things can we find that have been blown up. I'm wondering if the damage actually came through on the sys wire, the one wire. I wonder if that's part of the sys1 wire. What do you... Q5480... Your SMC P-Bus V-Sense. Okay, you're not quite. Nope. But this here is, you know, when you got a board that does sponginess like that, it's well and truly over. And when the resistors are looking like that, you can replace everything here. It's not going to come back to life. or certainly not in a way that you probably want to give back to your customer. It's the sort of thing that once it gets hit like that, it's forever going to be jittery. You don't know what sort of internal board damage has occurred. So okay, all these resistors are, pardon me, all these parts have got solder dags on them. Okay, see, this has been replaced. And it's been shot through too, by the looks of it. Either that or the tweezer mark pushing right into it. That cap is shorted and broken. You can see that there. Yep. Wonder what the CPU looks like. Seemed okay, actually. It can be a CPU donor board. Well, in this case, this device has actually been handed to me by another location as opposed to an end user. But yeah, this one's cactus. CPU looks fine. No one wants it though. It's probably got the shakes as well. So I think what else could possibly be wrong on this? I'm just looking for more interesting fried parts. Get your deep fried components here today. Wonder if it was left in the rain, connected to a power point, and yeah, no, maybe something. Yeah, I'm just not sure what to think of it. Let's see that area there. Yeah, this whole board section is just delaminated. I just noticed that the edge bonding's been taken off. Unfortunately, a reflow is not going to save that one. Damn. Well, that's one way to end the night. Separating system data also prevents excessive fragmentation. What are we talking about here? Partitioning the drive allows you to access even the ball bearing starts to fail. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, depends on how the drives are designed too. I don't like the fact that the new drives store critical data on the platters themselves. I'm glad we're moving to solid state drives more than anything else. Anyway, that's trash. I'm not even quite sure if it's worth putting back together. I'll ask the person who sent it to me if they want it back together. I wonder if the screen's damaged on it. It's a fact already proven. What's it? Which bit's the fact? The other thing with proven facts also is, I mean, you know, with drive designs change. Like I said, yeah, you get some that, I mean, they used to put critical information just in the non-volatile RAM on the drive, the controller board, but then they said, yeah, let's stick it on the inner tracks, and they'll get destroyed first, so you won't even be able to get your parameters. That'll be fun. I guess it depends on what drive you're talking about, of course, and what kind of recovery you're talking about. Because if you can't get your partitions up, then you can't get your unless you're doing something like PC 3000 and whatnot. Go look for bent pins on the little battery circuit board. Yeah, we'll do. It's kind of curious to see if anything's happened to the solid state drive. I'd be very surprised if this survived. That reminds me, I need to get a USB converter board for these type drives. I've got a few already, including the 1612 type SSDs, but one of these I don't have and I need. Well, this week has basically just been a complete crap fest. Started out Monday, 3 machines, all useless. We're talking inner track physically or inner track logically? Like the number of drives that I've not been able to get the data from because track 0 is dead has been very frustrating, because then you don't seem to be able to get the partition data off, so you can't even do a software recovery. It has to go into a clean house, and even then half the time they seem to have dramas with it. Yeah, nothing bent there. Anyway, hard drive recoveries aren't my strong point anymore. I just do software recoveries. If I can't do it with software recovery, then I hand it off to the customer again, or tell them to go contact PAM or whatever they call themselves, and let them shock the living daylights out of the customer. Yeah, all the pins are okay on this, thankfully. So yeah, my guess is it probably came through the Sys1 wire. Hey, Pianov. Yeah, you missed all the fun, Pianov. Trying to save some money. Can you use a knockoff cable and use a different power supply? Yes, the ARM name came from Acorn Computers. John, really, when it comes to like powering these boards with a DC power supply through the MagSafe lead, it really is a better. Just try and look for someone who's got a broken MagSafe. Like, there's plenty of them around where people, something's happened to it, and you just pull the cable out of the MagSafe brick, and you'll have the 2 fly leads, and just connect them up, and it should do the job. So you just got to find the dead ones. Could be worse. I wonder if there will be people who need data recovery for services and caught in the bushfires. Oh yes, there will be quite a few of those. There's going to be some sad tales. Hopefully, these days, the problem they have out there is they don't have good enough internet to really rely on cloud backups most of the time, so they're kind of doomed. Sorry, just gotta answer some messages. Depends on the fault. We'll have to have a look first. Can see it after midday tomorrow, because I do not do jobs before midday unless I really, really, really have to. Yep. Kevin, I suck when it comes to SMSing or messaging like that. I'm sad about that. I waited all day to open this up and get myself some time to look at this, and what do you know? It turns out to be just junker. Man, what am I going to do then? I'm going to have a riot on my hands unless I fix something. Let's see if there's something else around this trash fest of a room that I can maybe fix. Let's see, what have we got? Wow. You're completely trashed. I'm looking back through my iPhone boxes again. What have I got in here that I could maybe fix? Now that I'm so bored that I've got nothing else to do. What else? I could have sworn I had some logic boards that were pending to be repaired. They weren't the greatest or anything, but yeah, I could have. I just don't know where they are at the moment. Yeah, let's get my filter out of the way. Take a walk through the wild side of my workshop, where some things do not come back from. No, no, no. What are you? You're boring. You're an iCloud locked board. That's boring to fix up. It's just a case of changing the BIOS on it. Trouble is, I've not got my. Yeah, I don't have access to the ME reprogramming at the moment. And I should probably put this thing back together because this one is mine. This is one that I've got that I've never able to fix properly, especially when I keep breaking the damn. This is a 1398. Not sure what year it is, but it's got an annoyingly intermittent fault. Are all Mac power supplies 20 volt? No. They're usually like 12 or 13 to 18 volts typically, depending on the model. Oh great, I see the batteries are puffing up, so they've got to come out. The nice thing is this is actually a splendidly good chassis. The screen is just beautiful. Someone did some digging up the top here. I don't know why they've done that, but other than that, it's an exceptionally good quality screen. So let's just get this battery out because it's going to cause drama in the near future. Maybe I should just sell the chassis. Rodrigo, yeah, the battery's puffed, so it's got to come out. Did I watch The Right to Repair? No, I didn't, because I'm a bad repair person, and I do not follow everything that Mr. Rossman does. When it comes to that sort of stuff, I just rather promptly fall asleep, to be honest. And before you're wondering, no, it's not the DCM board, the daughter board that's at fault on this machine. Hey fingers. I like to take the speakers out on these, it just makes that a little bit easier. They can be a bit tricky when you first deal with them because you start wondering if there's another screw in them, but they're not. They're just, once you take the screws out, they're just held down by stiction. Nothing more. If you want to rage and scream, watch it. No, not in the mood to do that. Yeah, really, we should have when I say we, I should say the repair community, should actually have this right in the bag, no troubles at all, because we're repairing the equipment of all these senators or whatever, and so we actually have privy to all their most sensitive data. So why are we not applying our hacker selves, or cracker selves? I prefer the term cracker, but I realise it's not understood clearly what the distinction is by most people. Why are we not applying ourselves and blackmailing the hell out of these senators and whatnot? Okay. Now, first thing you have to do when you're taking any of these batteries out is not be a drongo and leave it folded up like this. Because if you leave it folded up like this, what's going to happen is you go pouring all your alcohol in here and it goes straight into your very expensive screen, especially if it's a retina. I feel for the people who find out the hard way. So you got to put it over the edge of your desk and shift your camera. It's called work ethics. What's that? I wouldn't have a problem with work ethics if they didn't keep doing us over like they do. Anyway, I'm mainly really just playing devil's advocate here. Yeah, stick some alcohol in there. You want some alcohol? You want some alcohol? Everyone wants some alcohol. You all get some alcohol. Everybody's happy. Work ethic. That's a funny term. It's got military intelligence. Genius Bar sounds like a pub for nerds. I haven't got my little pull string rig set up, so we're going to have to use the plastic razor method. Just cut through that first section. It should come up pretty easy. Now, if this catches on fire, then you can thank me later. Yeah, this whole battery thing is madness, I agree. At the very least, they could have given us pull strips, like they do on the iPhones. And I'm kind of a little annoyed that even places like iFixit, they also just use the two-sided foam tape. You put in a replacement iFixit battery, same thing. Whereas they have the opportunity to use some sort of inventive pull strip system, but nope. They're just sticking with the modulus, sticking with the standard. I can feel when I'm cutting into the foam. Yep. I'm going to do the other side. This should be moderately drunk by now. Nice easy two-shot drunk, this one. Yeah, Wayne, I know. That's what I was saying before, is I haven't got my little wire setups, so we'll just have to go with this at the moment. This still works. It's not quite as quick as the moly extraction, but it works. I think the biggest risk with this is actually stabbing yourself with the sharp end of the spudger. That's about it. But definitely be mindful, if you haven't done one of these before, don't just go crazy stabbing under here. You really do need to get a feel for what you're doing. If you go crazy stabbing, you could end up with, well, crazy prizes. Get a claw hammer on the batteries. Who did that recently? I saw someone do that. Was it Rossman? Yeah, don't get too close to the damn keyboard, Paul. One thing I found by accident today was that this metal plate that sits between the battery and the touchpad, it came up real easy when I was doing something else today for another job entirely. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but it'd be real nice if I could consistently get that. Yep, more alco. Oh, it was Lewis, was it? Cool. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I just seem to remember it being an iPhone battery, which is why I was getting confused. Feeling for this pesky foam. Coburn, I have had some blow up on me, but not because of doing this, but rather because the battery was already violently violated, and as soon as I basically moved it, it started to go pyrotechnic. It wasn't a very fun day. Fortunately I was in the other room at that point, so going outside was a fairly quick thing. We're almost there. We've just got this last little couple of smidges of foam tape to cut through underneath. There we go. Oh, there's Paul Dyer in here. Where's Paul? Hey, Paul. Paul, look up Charters Towers, Goldfield Ashes. That's what's happening here this weekend. 3 days. Largest amateur cricket festival in the Southern Hemisphere here. The town basically goes from 8,000 people to something like 10,000 people, and we have in the order of around about 50 or 60 cricket fields around this town. And yeah, they're all going to be pretty busy for the next couple of days. So you can, no matter where you drive around town, there will be someone playing cricket during the day. So you'd love it here. Once a year. Unfortunately for the rest of the year, it's not so great. Ah, come on. There, so this plate here. Oh, neat. I see they've got an access hole for the tension on the touchpad button. That's another thing I had to do today. Person came in with the touchpad, and it would click, but you know, it's like a really fat, you had to really push down to get it to activate. And what it was is the damn plastic, I just spittled there, the damn plastic nipple that sits on top of the dome switch assembly that's underneath that grub screw. It just broken off and disappeared. So I had to steal it from another slightly different MacBook, but it still did the job. Anyway, this is actually the part I hate the most about getting batteries out, is the cleanup. And normally I can do this, where you sort of use your tweezers, grab onto enough of it, and then twirl your tweezers, and it pulls it off. And then, unlike the exposure, which is kind of crazy at the moment. How's the audio sync, by the way? I find hot air just doesn't. It just makes it a hotter mess. I don't find it comes off that cleanly. Wayne, I haven't seen him, and I got your link, but I haven't seen it yet. It's been a bit crazy. Good sync? Great. Fantastic. I'm trying to think what it was that I was doing this for the other day that I really had to do it, and it was very delicate. It's kind of therapeutic as well. Sort of like yelling at people for asking you dumb questions is therapeutic. How you been anyway, Paul? That back of yours, any hope for it? Are you just going to have to endure? Have you tried WD-40 on it? Oh god, no. I cannot stand the smell of WD-40. Jet wash it off, there's a good idea. Someone's thinking. Oh, this works. It's a little bit sluggish, but it does work. Or maybe we'll try a little bit of hot air just to soften it. 250. Let's see what happens. So like a nice warm summer Australian day, as the breeze comes up and caresses your neck and makes you sweat at 5:30 in the morning. Actually, that didn't work too bad. Except now it's stuck to me. Paul, yeah, I've noticed actually a lot of channels lately are starting to really put ads in the middle of their content. That's ticking me off. I can get, I support obviously ads at the start, maybe at the end, but the whole middle thing, so what do they, it breaks the flow of everything. Unless you're sort of going off to the bathroom or you're ultrasonicing something or whatever. How would teacher oil and rag? It probably would work, but again, the smell would be a problem. I don't like the laptops going out of here with too many extra smells compared to what they came in with. Preferably less. Just usual shilling. What? Yeah. Acetone I will not put on these things. The reason why I don't put or use acetone is because once you realize what it does to plastic and how much plastic there is on these things, yeah, you will stop using it. Fortunately, the first time I tried it was on an iPhone 5C, which was perhaps the worst item to ever put acetone on. That was an expensive mistake that I learned from. Stockholm's. What's Lewis? It's a bit early for that fellow to be awake, isn't it? I mean, that's why he's got Erica to stop him waking up so early. Damn brightness, I didn't get around to cutting that down. There we go. Yeah, bathe the whole bird in it now. Oh, hello bug. Are you gonna be our plague bug this year? Every year we usually have a particular bug, one type or another, that decides to arrive in plague proportions. So far we haven't had anything yet, but these little brown chaps, they have a fairly regular occurrence. It's like every 5 years or so. Can alcohol 77% melt resin to make liquid flux? I mean, I've always just used 100% to get it dissolved, and then you add your glycerin rather, additives. I know some people make some pretty exotic ones. I mean, we use exotic flux. Yeah, this is taking forever. But it is clean. Oh, you meant his ads, right. Crap. Well, what blue button? Got people talking trash. Does not come off so well on this side. Works fine, that method, for the non-porous type surface, but on the porous stuff it's a little less. Come on, come on. Honestly, it's not trying to roll, I don't know. Yeah, an Australian bug moving on the desk. So this chap here, yep. He's probably more patriotic than I am, that's for sure. You won't have me going out there screaming out oi 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 or anything like that. It's not really my thing. Unless I'm trying to tell someone off, like, oi oi, stop that. Oh, I hurt flies. I've got a fly trap. I've got a fly trap that catches them by the thousands. It starts off with one or two of the little silly buggers, and then it just, over the next day or two, it just gets way out of control, and your fly trap just fills up with this black, nasty, corpseified gunk. You gotta do it around here. Yeah, now I've just turned this into sludge. I'm sure most people actually just put the oh shit. Sorry, bug. That was bad of me. This one just doesn't want to come off so nicely. Oh well. Should dig a fish pond and feed the flies to the fish. I used to have a fish pond. Unfortunately, I had to fill it back in because I didn't want the cats falling in it. It was a fairly deep pond. I mean, it was about 2.5, 3 foot deep. Do you guys have the meat-eating flies? You have nasty buggers taking a bite of and fly off. We have things called march flies and all that. I mean, I'm sure we do. Household flies are the most annoying. We get these little midge flies, I think they are, and they're extremely fast, very small, very annoying. Like, at least with the household flies, you can like have a chance of swiping at them. With these midge suckers, no chance at all. John White, I'm just cleaning up the trash here. This is me responding to stupid comments to my previous videos. I gotta say, you know, it's an interesting balance at times between whether you try to be nice or whether you want to be naughty when it comes to YouTube comments and responding to them. Some people, you know, they're just trying to be manna suckers. When I say manna suckers, you get these people in life where they, even when they're trying to compliment you or anything like that, it seems their primary purpose is to try and steal your energy from you. I know that's a bit of an esoteric type thing to say, but I'm sure people will understand what I mean. You can just feel that every time they start talking, they're just draining you of your enthusiasm, your energy, or whatever. And glad to see this one's actually working how it should. Twirl, 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 twirl. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be going. Hey, Sonia. Yuri, well, glad to hear that. Ours fell in quite a few times. And then, of course, we have the problem with toads here. And in Australia, the non-indigenous cane toad or non-native cane toad is a significant issue. They kill a lot of wildlife. They're everywhere. They're just everywhere. And if you have a pond, you just end up with hundreds of toads in your yard. It's disgusting. What's this? If not needed to work, leave it the hell alone. Time there is my what? Oh, you must be talking to someone else. Anyway, well, today's been not too bad. I was a bit disappointed about that 1425 being a dud. Should have known better. It's a 1425. I gotta admit, that's probably the most damaged I've seen a board from that sort of thing. I've had iPhones that have been microwaved. They're always a crack up. You can always tell when a phone's been microwaved because the Wi-Fi antennas usually turn to an absolute crisp. Yeah, Coben, yeah, probably not ideal to tell people about that. You will get the RSPCA on your back over that. We just freeze them, or carbon dioxide does a good job on them. You just bag them all up and then fill the bag up with carbon dioxide, and the end. You gotta wait about 6 hours, and if you got a chest freezer, it's good to just throw those gas toads into the freezer for another couple of, like, a half a day or something, and just throw it in the trash. Don't you have storks in Australia? We only actually have, I think, one native stork in Australia, and that is the jabiru. Other than that, I don't believe we have any other native storks. There's not many creatures that will tolerate the cane toad poison. The keelback snake will, and even then it's in limited quantities. It's not like it can just... It's not like it's completely immune to the cane toad venom. If it gets one that's too big, it will kill it. The other thing that does seem to tolerate cane toad venom is the quolls. The quolls are crazy little creatures. They're either going to die from cane toads or they're going to die from just having sex too much. Seems they're rampant little things. Use some heat. Yeah, I'm doing this my way for... It's just my pleasure of way of doing it. So bit by bit. It's coming off cleanly now. See? If I use heat, I've got to use the other hand, and at least this way it's working for me. It's slow. It drives everybody insane, which makes me happy. Quolls, Coburn. If you look up Australian quolls, they're weird looking, cute but weird looking creatures. Hakuna Matata, yes, indeed. Daibach, it's the battery is just inflated on this one, so we just pulled it out. We're cleaning up the mess left behind. But the real problem with this one is that the board is intermittent. It can go fine for several hours, and then all of a sudden it just drops dead, resets and stuff like that. And I've spent quite a few hours on this one, but I suspect it's just one of those boards that has a PCH quirk or something like that. May never really truly be repairable, but it is a good quality chassis. Nicola, the alcohol doesn't work so well on this. It just makes it like snot. Yeah, it just sort of turns it into snot like that, and then you got to use a heap more alcohol to clean it up afterwards. I prefer doing this way. It takes a little while, but it's clean. As long as I haven't made a major mess of the pull-up process. I use alcohol initially to get the batteries out, of course. But there, so the strips just come clean off once you get the technique. What's Yuri saying? Wonder if you could cook out the poison from toads. For what, so you can eat the toads? I wouldn't want to do that. There's been people who have died from eating toads from, just university hazing challenges and things like that. And certainly a lot of animals die every year from accidentally eating toads, thinking that they're frogs or some other native toad that they can eat. Looks like Tripper still needs some education. Tripper, you just can't talk like that, bro. I hate using that term, bro. But I did it intentionally. Midges, yeah. Sticky pads in, yeah. Oh crap. I changed direction halfway through. That was my own dumb fault. You can't change direction halfway through. So far this stream has been nothing but weirdness. Me with ponytails, just to annoy everybody. And then a 1425 that was dead before it even landed on my desk. I'm gonna have to do something about getting more boards into this workshop. It's just unfortunately my proximity is a little bit of a problem. Because I know there's plenty of work out there. And Lewis is helping to no end. I mean, I'm genuinely, sincerely, he's doing a fantastic job promoting my stuff. But at the end, I've still got to step up and still get most of the jobs myself. And what doesn't help is that I enjoy too much doing the design and tooling and programming and things like that. And I tend to forget about being a salesman or marketing person chasing down getting the jobs, and I sort of wait a little bit too much for them to come to me, which is why I'm still in this situation of having not yet got my house. Polina, oh it's okay, I've had the name Polina for many years. Anyone who knows me in my youth will know that there's nothing unusual about that. Anything about Aussie girls? Huh. Paul, I wouldn't worry too much. There are actually... I was going to get married to someone who was 5'2.5". God help you if you forgot to mention the half-inch, of course, but yeah, 5'2.5". Yeah, if you forgot to mention that extra half-inch, you're in big trouble. Twirl. Come on, catch up. Travis, not a fan of Jack Daniels myself. It's like a wire brush down the throat. No thanks. If I have to have something like that, I'll probably tend to prefer something like Glenfiddich, which I know is a bit la-di-da of me, but honestly, if I have to drink any alcohol, I'll probably prefer something like a nice Tokay, something sweet that will lull me into my sleep instead of attack my liver and letting me know about it while it does it. I used to always be called Jack, but I sort of put an end to that. Not intentionally, it just sort of died off when I got back from Africa, and yeah, just a new life started. I didn't bother to carry on with the whole Jack Daniels thing. Sort of was time just to become a normal, responsible human being with a proper name. Of course, at that time I also stopped drinking too, so it was probably a good thing. Oh yeah, the Witcher series. I like that Witcher series. I watched it the last couple of nights. The only thing I hated about the Witcher series was the timeline, whatever they were doing with that. That completely threw me for a good 4 or 5 episodes. Because I suffer a bit of face blindness. And so I'm looking at these characters and I'm thinking, hey, you look awfully similar to the people that died like an episode or two ago. Was this just my face blindness playing up on me? No, it was the timeline. John White, you actually met Paul as in The Magician. Okay, well, we're done after all that. Was this palinka after hot soup? Honestly, I think I'm pretty much... don't need to do much else here. Done our job. Cleared away enough of the adhesive that the new battery can sit in without being pushed up or distorted in any way. Schematic and board for PCs. Computers suck. I finally figured out how to use some close to the same board for a 2200 HP computer. It's not going to landfill. Yeah, that's one of the big things why everybody likes MacBooks, even though everyone likes to complain that they don't like Apple. The reality is we have more information about MacBooks than we do pretty much about any other brand, and we're consistently getting that information, and it's generally accurate, except for the occasional situations where, like the A2000840 board, which doesn't seem to be the real one, because the real one has a chip on it that I'm still waiting on getting delivery. Alright. Okay, I need to change these gloves because it's all caked up with that stuff. I haven't seen the Picard movie yet. I'm not sure. I'm not a huge Star Trek fan of the old style Star Trek. I'm going to make a few people rage and say that I actually am currently watching again the new Discovery series. Other than the first couple of episodes, and until they tamed Tilly down, it was a little bit much. But then, yeah, they got the hang of it, and it's pretty good, in my opinion. Yeah, so Macs have the greater resale value. I mean, I'm still very happy with my 2013 MacBook Retina. I use it all the time. It does everything I want. And I got the 2013 27-inch one. I gotta admit, the 27-inch one, I probably feel like I need a little bit more power, but I think I may be able to get around that by simply putting a solid state drive in there. Yeah, there we go. See, Tripper doesn't agree. So Tripper must be an original Star Trek fan, whereas I'm not really a fandom type person, as it were. I don't tend to subscribe to teaming or things like that. It's not in my nature. I prefer to just sort of go, well, I like that. No, I didn't like that. And then don't tend to invest too heavily on such things. Each to their own. Let's put our speakers back in. I mean, I get it. The original, the Star Trek canon was far more subtle and subdued, so to speak, even with Captain Kirk of, what's his name? What do I forget his name for? Yeah, even with him gallivanting around the country and being a nice womanizer. I should say the universe. Where'd my other speaker go? Did you watch Planet Earth series? No, I haven't actually yet. Yeah, the new Star Trek movies are pretty good too. I think that's what's happened is there's a certain... When people invest heavily into something like, say, Star Trek or FreeBSD or Linux, when that thing becomes popular, they don't like it because it's like, well, how do we maintain our exclusive nature, like our special status of being weirdos or whatever they want to view themselves as, if everybody likes this? It's not on. So that's why they get all upset, because it's like, you ruined what made us, what we consider to be something unique about us, rather than embracing the new people coming in and say, welcome. For crap's sake, where did I put that speaker? William Shatner, thank you. My goodness, bad that I forgot that. And not because he's, in Star Trek or anything, but yeah. Oh no, I'm a moron. The speaker's right there. Why didn't anyone tell me? Yeah, Stockholm's, I kind of just realised that after I was having a meltdown. Thank you for stopping me from having a meltdown. Huh. I'm still a fan of Ubuntu. Like I said, I was a Slackware person for many, many years. So you can't say that I haven't done my time. But at some point you start to realize that you're just basically wasting your life away recompiling packages and doing stuff like that. And you just want to do something that works. And eventually, if you keep carrying on with that, you'll get to probably a Mac. Have you watched Somerville Fears? I think I have in the past, quite a while in the past, to the point where I've pretty much forgotten if I had. I am watching The Irishman. I'm in the last, about halfway through the final act. They're just about to go over to the house whereby I think the showdown's going to occur. Okay. So this is intermittent now. I'm going to go over and first adjust the focus so that it matches what my eyes think is in focus. A puppy sadist. I'm not even sure what that's in reference to. I mean, the fact that I watched The Irishman, or the fact that I used to use Slackware? Were you referring to the puppy distribution of whatever? Now, as you can see, I have ultrasonic this. For all I know, it could be something like a bad joint on one of these. But it's very frustrating because it just seems to work fine for a while and then boom, just drops out. And there's nothing in the logs really indicating what went wrong, which just makes it even more irritating. There's various bits of liquid damage around here, but I cleaned those up pretty good, though, I thought. Yeah, for all I know, it's just a slightly shonky leg on one of these QFPs. And you'll never really find the damn thing. What's with the scrape traces? That was where there was corrosion previously, and I've cleaned it up. Yeah, Stockholm's, I'm thinking it might be a PCH issue. I'll take the heatsink off again. Have another look under there in case I miss something. Okay, Q's. Hope you have a good one. Those big caps don't seem so good. I think... What are you talking about? You're talking about these? That should be okay. They're just... got adhesive on them from the fold over protective flap. It's supposed to stop all manner of liquid damage. And things like that usually should show up if you start punishing it with something like Valley Test. But the sort of intermittent nature that this thing has, it really feels like something PCH or whatever related. Okay, looks like... trying to think what I was doing around here. Yeah, so I mean there's a few bits and pieces of edge corrosion that was there and got cleaned up. Surprisingly difficult to resolder those sections. There's a massive thermal ground plane there. Very hard to get the heat into the board to get that solder to flow properly. Well, at least people aren't Gen 2ing much anymore these days. Goodness knows how much energy those guys wasted trying to save energy. Also, I'm just looking around to see if I can see anything that I may have missed the past 5 or 6 times. Ah, I hate it when that happens. What is the deal with Arch Linux? I mean, what's its thing? I'm fine with Ubuntu. I can't see myself changing from Ubuntu anytime soon. There's pretty much no compelling reason for me to do so. Even the shift to system D wasn't enough. I mean, that was pretty much just inevitable across the board. A bit of corrosion there. That's not even anything important. That's just a fiducial. So it's a 3332. So we've done U80-900 anyway. It's interesting that when you do ultrasonic clean leaded solder, at least with the cleaner that I'm using, it definitely shows up as, you know, this sort of darker tarnish. I could always try to reflow that yet again. Like I said, I really don't think that's the fault. I mean, I can understand why they wanted to do System D, but at the same time, also, a lot of us were perfectly content on init. But yeah, I mean, init was cumbersome, I will not deny that. But it ran on the idea that once you set up a system, you basically walk away from it. But I suppose with them trying to push Linux more into the desktop uninitiated type scenario, they wanted to come up with something a bit better than init. I'm sure they had their reasons. Again, nothing really jumping out. Of course, to be fair, it is ultrasonic, so my own worst enemy in that case. Yeah, it's a thing, Bob. It's a thing where people get together and disagree about Australia Day. The people that have been here 40,000 years prior don't really like it, because it's the day that colonization came in and changed everything for them. So yeah, it's the usual sort of bag of emotions all around. Yeah, I should just stick this into the chassis, run it up and see what happens. See if I can induce something that might actually give me a hint. Hey, Stuart Menzies. And if nothing else, at least this machine will be finally back together and not taking up another slot on my input shelves. Yeah, Australia's still part of the Commonwealth. We've tried a couple of times to become a republic, but it never really goes through. Well, it never has gone through, I'd rather say. Not sure Australia is mature enough to be a republic. I have received my text. What? Who is this? Lynn. Oh, yes. Wait. Someone asked him for a receipt, and I could have been sure that I put one in the front of the computer when I gave it back to him. Stuart, I actually don't know what's wrong with this one. It's one that a customer basically ended up just appropriating to me. Couldn't really find the true cause of anything, and so we just had to walk away from it because we weren't getting anywhere. Let's see. I use the... Yeah. Guess who's... Oh, wait, you? I think you are. So yeah, rather than wasting the rest of my life on it, I just said to him, well, I can't fix it. I'm sorry, I tried, and I did put a lot of time into it. And quite a few times I thought, yay, it's fixed. And then after, usually 10 minutes after I told him it's fixed, even after several days of testing, it stops working. And I did that a couple of times, and then I said, that's it, not doing this anymore. And the customer agreed. And so we got the data off the drive, obviously. And they went along, got themselves a new MacBook. And I traded them my work and the data recovery for their chassis, which worked out great because I needed one of these. Got to do some wheelie dealing occasionally to get stuck up on required bits and pieces. Okay, good. Oh, the best thing about the long weekend here in Charters Towers for the Australia Day is because we have all the cricketers here, the local shops open up 24/7 for a couple of days. So right now I can go down to my favourite cafe and they will be open. It's like a miracle dream. And I wish they would do it every day or every weekend or something like that. Obviously they can't, but it would be nice. Most things in this town shut by 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Very hard to find anything that's open later. There's a truck stop out of town that's 24 hours. But, well, you get truck stop food there. And, yeah, that in itself isn't too bad, but sometimes you're not really in the mood for that. Okay. Let's see, yeah, it's true, it's 11:45. I really wouldn't want to be having much more coffee. Uh-huh. I've even got the original box still for it. That's pretty neat. But what I haven't got is all the screws for it, because clearly what I've done is put them into one of the containers and slowly sort of used them up on other machines rather than keeping it specifically bound. And so now I'm going to have to go through and guess. One of the key indicators will be there should be the two flex plates. The flex plates that... Wait, there's no flex plates on this one. Crap. Okay, so much for that brilliant idea, Mr. Daniels. I was thinking of the 1502s, how you have a plate covering either end of the main board, daughter board, flex. No such thing on the 1398 on this model. See, I was thinking of these things. Bugger. Yes, Stuart, the long search begins. I mean, I'll get it piecemeal, but it's still a long search. And every time I tell myself to, do a better job of keeping things together for these scenarios, I sort of have a little bit of success, but then inevitably I seem to regress again, and it's a bit disappointed in myself, I must admit. Yeah, past Paul screwed me over. Good and proper. That's okay, I'll teach him a lesson by beating up future Paul. Okay, what have we got here? 1278 bits. This actually is kind of reminiscent. It looks close. We've got two long screws, which are usually the ones here. We've got two sets of fan screws, including ones with a I don't know how the hell to describe it, but anyway, there's a bit of a standoff. That usually... Oh, and we've got the little silver one, so this might be at least part of it, if nothing else. Guess we'll find out. If a long screw damaged something, we'll go, well, I guess it wasn't that. Where's that? But I am missing the... So how do I split this out so badly? Come on, man. This is definitely for a 1398, these screws. Anyway, much disappointing disappointment in thyself. And this, yeah, so this is the short stumpy T5 that goes into this one here. So this is definitely a 1398 pack. Question is it my pack? One can only hope. That said, I don't have any other as I say, I do not have any other 1398s in the workshop currently, so the chances appear good. What have we got here? 512 gig drive. And this is the one that I don't have a adapter for, this style of drive. I just have to buy one off eBay. Well, I've got the cap in here, but I haven't got the silver screw. Reminds me of Cat Stevens or something. Little boy playing on the moon or whatever. Man on the moon. Okay, let's check some more containers. I've got quite a number of containers in the workshop, so more than likely the parts have just diffused into other containers. Now this is some poor 1502 that never came back to life. This one's called The Graveyard. Let's try and find a couple more containers. I'm fairly sure I did see one around here that had that silver standoff screw that holds the base of the heatsink on that end. But where? Blank, blank, blank. Don't you worry about blank. iPhones, ew. Right. Okay, it's not in the blanks. But it does leave you wondering, so how does this happen? That you have all the parts in one container, and you specifically have containers for this purpose, and yet somehow through the power of goodness knows what, bits and pieces incrementally start just drifting out of those containers. Before you know it, they're evenly distributed across multiple different machines. It does happen with the greatest of ease, and that is what concerns me a lot. And it's why I'm really looking forward to expanding into larger workshops. Not because I specifically want to take on more jobs, but just so that for the jobs that I do currently have, there is at least a sensible level of space. What have we got in here? Mac Mini. Oh god, forgot about that. Whoops. I've got a Mac Mini there that has broken the primary long shaft screw that goes through the circuit board into the backside of the chassis, and it's broken free of its retaining nut on the chassis side, so you can't actually unscrew it. Believe me, I've tried. So I'm going to have to put a metallic shaft down over the remains of the screw and then drill it out. Now, as weariness and disappointment descends, what was it? There was an account. It might have been. Hell if I know. I mean, at this point I'll probably be still by myself, but I may at some stage hire someone, but primarily as an assistant for things like shipping, all the stuff that gets in your way when you're trying to focus on a job. Yeah, okay. I've got the right person that I'm talking to, and they can't find the thing that I left in their computer for them. What's the point of having one screw in there, really? Well, at this stage I suppose it's not critical because this will run without it. So I guess we'll just... I notice I'm also missing the two broadhead screws that sit on the inside of these fans. What might have happened is someone might have bought a 1398 in and it was missing parts or screws, and so I said, well, I've got spares of my own, so I'll put my spare ones into your machine so that you get to walk away with a perfectly complete machine. It's a bit of a bad habit I have of doing that, sacrificing my own gear for them. I'm not sure if it's really a good behaviour to have. I think you can end up putting yourself into a few situations that you probably shouldn't be in. Like you all of a sudden don't have equipment that you really should have because you were trying to help out someone. Doesn't matter how big the workshop is, never big enough. Even if you have 2 or 3, you'll soon fill them up. I do tend to believe you there. I very much do tend to believe you. I would like to test the theory. Wow, really? And as a bonus, government ate my money tonight. But hey, I suppose, no, look, to be fair, it was tax I have to pay, so I don't have a big problem paying tax, as long as it's reasonable, at least from my perspective. It just hurts when you gotta pay it. It's up $1,500 and still another 6 or 7 to go. So, ouch. Okay, let's see if this thing even boots. Been there, done that. Just keep face with the client just to keep face with the client who was angry at a repair job that failed soon after completing the job. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those sacrifices you have to do, yeah. Okay, I just realised I don't know what's on this hard drive. Now we've got a boot. Hey, Kurt Dave. Sorry, Kurt Door. My apologies. Holy damn, nope. Nope. This is someone else's old stuff. Alright, perfect time for me to completely trash everything and put my own system on it. Let's see. Yeah, it's Mojave. Now, am I the only one who gets nervous with this? Even though this machine has been sitting here for goodness knows how long, I am still nervous to overwrite it. Even though it's mine. It just fills me with the heebie-jeebies. So what I'll do is I'll take this drive out. Oops, sorry. I'll take this drive out. Oh, that's right. That's half the problem. I can't even do a decent cloning of it. When I got the data off, I logged into the accounts and then just copied the data out. But I'll take the drive, I'll clone it onto my server, and then I'll leave that clone there probably for about 12 months easy. And then eventually I'll be forced to have to delete it, and I will be fearing getting a phone call the next day saying, "You remember that computer that you took last year or so? You don't still happen to have it around, do you? Because I just lost everything, and that was the only backup I thought that might be there. It'd be really great if you could still have it, because it would be a complete lifesaver, and we'd earn $1 million because we forgot all our bitcoins are on there." Yeah, that's pretty much the story that goes through my head. Yeah, exactly, Rodrigo. Yeah, it's the whole... It happens enough times that it becomes a legitimate fear. Yeah, I suppose I could put it in target disk mode, actually. Thanks for reminding me of that. I do forget to do that a lot of the time because it's just not something that we're used to in the PC world. See if I can boot from my external one. Come on. This is the one that doesn't seem to want to work on anything. Ah, there we go. There, my portable macOS comes up. So that's good, that works on this. Yep. Just like whenever you clean things up, throw out, end up needing a few days. Yep, absolutely. That's why you just need bigger and bigger and bigger sheds. So you sort of fill up one shed, as Steve K was saying before, and you go to the next shed and the next shed. Well, Jonathan, it's not really an intentional thing to suffer their anxiety on their behalf. It's just more a case of it'd be nice to be able to see people from themselves occasionally, even though you can't. And then there's always an opportunity that you might be able to make a bit of money out of it. Yeah, Crazy Jay. And we're back. I don't know if you can see, but this is really a stunningly good quality screen. Stunningly good. This is almost new. I could sell this chassis at quite a good price. This is A grade. That's the Valley benchmark icon. Four frames per, what? Oh, that's better. 20 frames per second. Yeah, this is a really good example. It's got only the very lightest amount of the keyboard markings on it. I kind of wonder whether it's worth putting little rubber bumpers on the top corners to stop that happening, or whether it's just a waste of time. So running 144900, no anti-aliasing. Quality, we'll go for high. The speakers probably sound even worse because of the fact that the bottom of the chassis is missing and there's no battery there for dampening. The fans are going nuts. All I can really do at this point is just let it run, see if it crashes again. But this thing will go for a day running this before it crashes, so maybe I should just accept it and I suppose I could always get a replacement mainboard for it. No bumpers, just a fibre cloth. Alright, okay. Bumpers could damage a screen. Maybe. I suppose it depends where you put them. Because I would have thought up here in the corners, you're not really in a risk of putting any pressure on the... Oh, that bug's back. You're not really at risk of putting any pressure on the actual screen itself, because that's just glass. Fibre cloth would be nicer, but you have to try and remember to put that in every time, which could be a problem. I think that was lighting. I don't think it was actually any fault in there. So anyway, well, I think we're just going to leave that run overnight and see what happens. I'm going to actually let Open Broadcaster record throughout the night so I can see when it dies, which reminds me I should really first make sure I've got the power settings set. Why don't you test the sensors using your disk? Because I've done them before and nothing comes up. The machine runs just... Look, I've even got here... let's see. Everything is pretty much in the realm of normal. Whatever fault this is, it's on some sort of critical line, but it's a little crack or God knows what. This will pass all its tests. Okay, Travis, have a good one. Okay, I have got the settings to never, so we will just let this run then. Yep. Hell, for all I know, it could actually be a bad solid state drive. I've probably got more chance of it being the drive. I do have someone's machine here, very similar to this, and they're also having intermittent problems, but from what they've told me on the list of things that they've got, it's sounding like their hard drive or the solid state drive is actually what is at fault. And that's one of the other reasons why I want to get the adapter as opposed to just running this as a disk mode, is that when I have an adapter I can then go through and test the sectors using DD Rescue and a few other tricks. So, alright, we're just going to let this run and I'm going to let it record all night and see if we get any indication of what causes the fault. There, Paul, it's really nice. I mean, this is a Retina. Obviously it's not running at full Retina quality, but you could definitely look at that all day, I agree. So, let's switch back. I think, yeah, it might be 1610, I'm not sure. Damn you people, let me find out. Option tab. Command tab. Okay, let's find out what it is. About this Mac. 16 gig memory on this too, and it's an i7 2.7. Damn. It's got the NVIDIA GeForce 650. This is a very nicely packed out system. 15.4 inch 2880 by 1800. That is a very nice combination. Yes, there's a little brown bug. He's come back again. It's like a tardigrade. Every time I touch him, he shuts down. Alrighty then. Well, I'm going to sign off. It's getting late. I've already had ice cream, but I've still got other things I want to eat before I go to sleep. Cannot sleep without full stomach. So thank you very much for watching. It was basically a very dead stream. We've simply had the 1425 at the start there. That looks like I got thunderstruck. Very Australian thing to do, get thunderstruck. And then we just waffled around and pulled the battery out of this. That was not really all that exciting. We didn't get any flames. And looks like I'll try and revive this machine and see if I can put it to any use. if I can't, maybe I'll just sell it, pay for more tax bills. That'll be a change. Alright, so I'll catch us all later. You'll take care. Watch out for the dingoes, don't let the bunyips get you, and I'll see you next time.